Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Okay, in regards to being trespassed in New York City.
What do you mean being trespassed? Like someone breaking it, like coming into your area?
Nope. Let me clarify. So let's just say you go into a gas station and they say, we don't want this person here. Then do you have to warn the person, or do you just trespass them immediately?
I can't tell you what everybody does.
Right.
I work in transit, so I don't really deal with like businesses like that. So I really don't know what, I have to listen to what happened from the owner.
Right.
And take it from there. Every situation is different.
Okay.
I really can't tell you. I mean, I would always try to find out as much information as possible.
Right.
And if it seemed like it wasn't a big deal, I would ask the person to leave. But I don't know if that's the legal, absolute.
Okay. What about transit? Seeing as you specialize in transit.
So transit, what we usually do is, if people, we are allowed to eject people for breaking transit laws, transit violations and rules, and we eject people, say, leave the station, and we'll warn them, if you come back, then you can be arrested for trespassing.
Okay, so that's basically if they commit a crime, is that correct?
Not a crime, it could be a violation as well.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so a civil violation.
A transit violation.
Okay.
Which ranges from, there's a few dozen of them. Smoking in the station, laying down, not paying your fare.
So you could eject them.
Yes.
And then what? You could actually trespass them as well?
So if I eject them, give them a warning, you're being ejected, you're not allowed to come back. If you come back into the station, you can't be arrested for trespassing.
And for how long does that ejection or trespass last?
There's no limitations on it, right? It's usually per cop. So if I'm standing here and I do it, and they come back again right away, and I'm still standing here, then I could take action. I don't have to, I could.
But are they only allowed to just not come back for that day, or for an infinite amount of time? Unlimited amount
of time. It's like they're allowed, like I said, if it's the same cop warning you, that's usually not good, because it's not and everything's documented on camera.
Okay. Yes. Okay. And then you could write a citation as well.
For the initial violation, you can. Yeah. But
now,
then also trespassing, if they go in the tracks, that's considered. If they go into unauthorized areas, that's also considered trespassing.
But now you're actually a New York City police officer,
yes,
which is public.
Yes.
So the train station is public.
It's a gray area. It's privately owned, leased to the city. Is how I was explained. It was explained to me.
Privately owned, leased to the city. I'm sorry, it's so noisy.
Leased by the city.
Oh.
So MTA is allowed to make rules down here. It's not a public space in terms of people can't just stay here, people can't live here, people can't do And so it's not a public space in that sense. Kind of like the Parks Department. Parks closed at they're public spaces, but they're city-owned public spaces. So they close at certain times and they have rules associated with them. Yeah, it's like that. Yeah.
So some people would obviously totally disagree with it not being public, and then some people agree with it.
That's the way it was explained to me. I'm not saying it's
right.
That it's public. It's public to an extent where you saw a lot of that during the pandemic. You saw a lot. Remember the stations closed from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So we had to make sure people were out because they clean the stations.
Right.
So we got a lot of complaints like this is a public space, you can't ask them to leave, or it's like, but they're closing the station. MTA is closing the station, so now it's not a public space for you to stay. And it wasn't like we were. I felt bad because people were trying to get home, but the stations were closed.
So what happens if somebody's actually homeless? Can you ask them to leave?
Not unless they're committing a violation.
But you had mentioned earlier, correct me if I'm wrong, about someone lying down.
Lying down is a violation, yes.
So if someone's lying down on a moving train, right,
yes,
then that's technically a violation, right?
Yes.
So, but you do have so many homeless people that actually do want to rest their head somewhere.
Yes.
So that is more than a gray line, right?
Yeah.
So.
But by letter of the law, those transit violation laws.
Yeah.
That's one of the laws. taking up more than one seat on a train is a violation.
Wow.
Like even putting your bag down a seat
Yeah.
is technically a violation.
Right, yeah.
Because the idea is that you pay for one seat on a train. Yeah, I think that's the way the law is written.
Did you see the video of the guy? Because you guys have something in regards to dogs. Dogs have to be in bags.
Yeah.
Did you see the guy? The guy brought a huge dog on a backpack.
Yes.
So is that technically?
So I think, from what I understand, like I said,
Right.
I think technically it's not allowed because I think it has to be fully contained. The law says it has to be like in a kennel.
Oh,
yeah, so
okay.
it says like in a traveling container, but if you look at the law, it says in a fully contained like a kennel.
And now how about a service dog? Where they
Yeah,
authorize?
services, yeah, that's
Right, that's allowed. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for your service, and thank you very much for your information.
Thank you for having a conversation. I do like these conversations.
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's some people don't like it, but some people love it because what better person I think to inform the people than someone who actually enforces the law. So for example, some tourists don't realize when I talk with them that your courts are open 7 days a week.
Yes.
And they're like, what?
Yeah.
So you think of like a bail bondsman and a certain time, but 7 days a week.
Yeah.
So I know that might seem like so obvious to you. You've known that right. And then they actually run, right. Now, is it true before Corona that they pretty much ran 24/7?
I would say never, in my experience, I would say never 24/7,
Yeah.
but seemed like it.
So approximately, what are the hours now for the courts?
Approximately, in my experience,
Approximately, right.
like usually like 11, 12 o'clock, they have a list of people they're still going to see.
Right.
But then they shut that down like 11, 12 o'clock, so they might run 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Sure.
And then they open up again, I think 8, but they get the process started before they officially open up.
Wow.
Yeah, people speak to their lawyers.
And that's because of so much traffic, so much flow.
Just because there's so much before they actually see the judge, there's so much prep work.
Right.
They see the public defendant, they have to speak to their attorney.
Right.
Just all that stuff to prep to make sure when they're in front of the judge, it's here's the information, here's their defense, here's their lawyer. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. In regards to being trespassed from, well, I know you specialize in transit.
I work
Right.
transit
So
over
everything
here.
is pretty much transit. Okay. In regards to the buskers, entertainers, street preachers, someone practicing their faith, right? Anybody can still have their constitutional right for freedom of expression, freedom of speech.
Right, of course. You can never, unless it's a threat, you can never fault somebody for what they're saying. But it's just you're not allowed to set up like a music or a speaker without a permit.
Could you tell me a little bit about that?
That's really all I know is that MTA gives permits. When you see the banners that says MTA, that's when it's supposed to be. That's legally while they're supposed to be.
And that's something that they pay for?
I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure how the process works. How they
and if they don't have one, then
technically.
oh, sure, go ahead.
D-train.
So down this path, you walk across this platform, and it's like another station on 6th Avenue. That's where it's gonna be.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
So that's not something you're fully aware
How
of,
to get the permit? No, I've seen the permits. Yeah,
right? But it's something you'd have to pay for.
I really don't know.
You don't know, yeah.
And then so technically, if they don't have a permit, they're not allowed to set up.
And if they did, what would be the process if they didn't comply?
Ask them to leave. I mean, my like I said, my way of doing
Right.
it is unless they're bothering people or they're encroaching on someone else's stuff, I would ask them to leave. And then if they refuse to leave, then have to take police action.
And what would that be? Arrest, citation?
Arrest, yeah, something, citation, yeah. It all depends what they're doing, how they're doing it, yeah.
So you had mentioned something earlier in regards to the free speech about, you used the word threat. So that could have a broad, because I've noticed, right here, sir. No, ask this gentleman, sir, sorry.
Port Authority, so see this little staircase? Yeah. Go up, take a left, keep walking, following signs of the A train. And you get to Port Authority. Are you looking for the train station or the bus terminal? Bus terminal. if you want to know if it's still raining, you can also walk. You can go outside and walk over to 8th Avenue. That's just more direct. So, yeah, yeah. Go out here, make a left. Once you get outside, you walk 1 block over 8th Avenue. You're welcome.
So would you consider, for example, let's just say someone is expressing their faith and somebody in the transit, in the subway.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
1 second.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to take too much of your time. Well, it was kind of quiet, so I appreciate it. So, if somebody disagrees with the message in regards to somebody's religion or faith,
Yeah.
and another passenger or passerby in the subway complains, does that veto the message? Does that stop the preacher?
No.
Can I give you an example? For example,
Yeah,
from the Bible.
That's what I'm saying. I'm thinking
So the
of-
Bible, I'll just give you an example. The Bible says, the wicked shall be cast into hell. Some people might consider that being threatened.
Yeah, I heard, like I said, everything's personal. Personally, if I heard someone say that, I wouldn't consider it a direct threat. When I say threats, in my definition of a threat is someone actively saying,
Like, I'm gonna kill
do
you.
something to you. I'm
I
going to do
see,
this.
see.
I'm going-
Right. Like,
that's
I'm gonna do it.
Right.
Right.
You know, if someone tells me, hey, this person is, you know, saying this stuff, and I find it offensive, it's going to be the context of how they're saying it too. If they're on the middle of the train screaming it at the top of their lungs, kind of like, then that's like you say, okay, you're being disorderly, you're interrupting people's peace, not because of the message, but because you're screaming at the top of your lungs on a train, you know, on a moving train.
So on a moving train, that could possibly be considered disorderly.
Disorderly, right? Because you're alarming people because you're being so you know, loud. And no matter what the message is, you can say "Have a nice day," and if it's like they're screaming at the top of their lungs, that's going to alarm people and put people on edge. So I would talk to that person and say like, "Hey, you know, you can't." And also, if people are, I think, you know, directly telling people, like, you know, getting their pace and being like, you know, giving them a message when they don't want to hear it, I think that's also, you know, you're disrupting people's peace.
So I've noticed, I've observed, and I've even.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yep. Microphone. Officer, thank you very much. Thank you, sir.